So we're advancing to the grid then, and it is indeed forming as we will be underway soon for the first of the two reverse grid sprint races for round 5 of the Missed Apex iRacing F3 Cup, and it will be Scott Toffee in that black and gold car on the right hand side as we look at it on pole position. Then it's John Cox on the front row with him. Then it's Richard Spanners ready and John Molden on the second row with Aaron Bray and Ryan Sedgwick on row 3. Then Matt Trumpets and John McClintock on row 4, and Daniel Cook and Matt Cook side by side on the grid once again on the 5th row of the grid this time. Then it is Colin Wood, the Gold Championship leader, in 11th, and Alex Smith in 12th. And then of course we have our front runners from the feature race with Luke Power, Tim Ellis, Alexander Dobbetsberger, Kyle Power, Stephen Williams, Luca Harrison, Gregoire Gomez and Danny Henney inside the top 20. And the drama continues at Circuit of the Americas. All 5 lights are on. And we go green in Texas once again. A very good start is made by Scott Tuffy there. He'll have the inside line. A very good start made by Spanners. Once again, the inside line proving to be a better start as Spanners gets up the inside there of John Cox. Cox might have the momentum on the exit of the corner, but for now it is Spanners into second place. Indeed it is. He's moved up into second ahead of John Cox, and that has allowed Stuffy to gain just a little bit of ground as well, as Ryan Sedgwick has moved up ahead of Richard Molden as well, and Daniel Cook with a flying start up into 6th place actually, and what seems like a very good clean getaway crucially for our front runners from race number 1.
Absolutely, that's exactly what Stuffy needed. He's nearly a second ahead of Spanners, and Spanners drawing a little bit away from John Cox as well, so this is exactly what we were saying. This is going to draw them well into the later stints as Molden and Cook fighting behind there. Molden getting all crossed up on the exit as well in that lime orange car down in 6th place.
Yep, that was Cook just taking 5th place there in the dark green car actually, and yeah, flying start up from the 5th row of the grid into the top 5 now, as we're seeing a bit of 3 wide there in the back of the pack, which I think was involving Gregoire Gomez and Alex Johnsma further down the pack. So plenty of action up and down the field as we see Molden here trying to apply a bit of pressure back on Daniel Cook, and some side by side on them involving John McClintock and Matt Cook as well. But very neat and tidy actually in the opening stages of this race. No major dramas that we've seen so far, and a very, very nice opening lap indeed for Scott Tuffy, who's 1.2 seconds clear of Spanners in second place.
Absolutely, and I must apologise to all the fruit lovers out there for, I have no idea what lime orange is, but never mind. He's in a lime green car. The car behind him, who's Aaron Bray, is orange. I think that's where my little brain was going. Followed very closely with Matt Cook in that lovely kind of rainbow car as he dived to the inside of Bray up into the first corner, that uphill braking zone. Left him a bit of room, and he wasn't brave enough to stick it fully in the inside, so that stays status quo.
Yep, Aaron Bray in the orange and black car there, just repelling the advances of now what are we calling that? Rainbow for Matt Cook there.
I think he drove through the paint shop and knocked all the paints off. It's a beautiful kind of. I absolutely love it. It's stunning. It's like one of the BMW art cars from Le Mans. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, and of course has been on the podium this season already, as we see Cook here making a move on Bray again. Now this time much more decisive on the brakes. Although Bray, you almost had to check up there in the apex, even trying to get the undercut on them. And that's Alex Smith, another podium finisher from this season, trying to get involved in the action as well. And it's actually Smith making the move here, and Bray loses out another spot in the end, so lost 2 places in the space of a couple of corners there. And look at that's Tim Ellis. Tim Ellis has risen up through the field already. He's into 10th place, and he's brought Harrison and Luke Power with him.
He has, and you can see just flashing through the back in the red car is Danny Henney. He's in 15th, and Kyle Power in 18th. So they have come through the first couple laps unscathed. They've been relatively well behaved today, and no damage I can see on his car. So these two will want to make some progress through the field.
Yeah, so Henny up to 15th. Power's not made quite the same. Sorry, Kyle Power has not made quite the same amount of progress. He's in 18th at the moment. Although has actually just got past Colin Ward actually, so he's up one spot there. But yeah, not quite moving up as quick as Henny was. Gomez right behind them as well.
There's a fight into the first corner. John Cox just made a daring lunge on Daniel Cook to take that third place.
I don't think it quite paid off as we see Power ahead of Ward there in 17th. Gomez in behind them, Stephen Williams as well. So Power running with the pack at the moment. He's got 2 cars between him and Danny Henny, of course, who's his nearest championship rival at the moment, and he'll want to keep as close to the back of Henny's car as possible. And if what Henny was saying in the feature race is true, and he'll start to struggle with those tyre attempts later in the race, and the rest of those cars, Tim Ellis there up into 9th place now. We see them getting involved out of this corner. Ellis has moved up to 9th. Luke Power and Luca Harrison side by side here, the 2 youngsters. Now remember, they were very close to the Hungaro ring as well, and they put on a good show on the opening lap of the feature race as well. And here comes Alexander Dobbelsberger, making it 3 wide as well, down towards turn 12. This could end in tears. Dobbelsberger breaks very, very deep. And Harrison with the outside line is the one who carries the momentum. They're still 3 wide coming into the stadium section. Power having to go the long way round, but Dobbelsberger should be able to hold his ground here. No, Power shoves it back up the inside. And Dobbelsberger having to take evasive action actually to not run into the back of Harrison. Still there side by side. And eventually the advantage swings in Dobbelsberger's favour, who picks up that 11th place.
So many different lines you can take through that stadium section. I don't think Luke Power is anywhere near out of this fight yet, as he gets a better exit out the final corner. He's going to have a good run up the start finish straight into that uphill braking zone for turn 1, Chris.
On board with Danny Henny now as he's watching this fight unfold in front of him. Power goes towards the inside of Dobbelsberger. And we're seeing the rest of the cars getting very close together on the exit of the corner as well, as Harrison ahead of them is trying to make moves as well. But Henny's very much joined this fight now, getting caught up behind Luke Power here, who's still tucked up behind Dobbelsberger. And it's Matt Cook now in 8th place. It's the cork in the bottle for this lot. There he is, and there's Ellis trying to make the move, and Harrison takes full advantage of that, steams up the inside. He's going to run our ride here, though. He can't go side by side through there, surely. So Cook gets a little bit of respite as the cars behind him are squabbling. How many wide was it there? 4? 5? It's unbelievable. On the exit of the corner, Henny runs out a little bit wide. Ellis still holds the advantage, but Henny's just come steaming through. He's made up 3-4 places there in about 1 corner. Now he's going to go for another on Luca Harrison. And Dobbelsberger with the slipstream as well. Henny moves late. Henny moves very late. And tries to put Dobbelsberger off, who's gone up the inside. They make contact! They make contact! And Harrison is round once again. That has got to be every round we've seen so far. Harrison facing the wrong way. Here it is again. Dobbelsberger was up the inside, and I don't think Harrison was expecting there to be a second car alongside him at the apex.
Yeah, I think he expected Henny to be able to give him some more room, but he couldn't, as you said, Chris, because they were 3 wide. Bit of a chop across. That is a disaster for him. That's such a shame. Coming back to the on-track action now, we have Kyle Power and Danny Henny going wheel to wheel through the final corners.
Yeah, so Henny's lost a bit of ground there because of that. He's actually fallen back into the clutches of Kyle Power in 15th place there. So it's Gomez in 13th. They're just rounding Aaron Bray now. They, of course, have all been held up by that incident down at turn 12. And I mean, they were really pushing their luck there, going, I don't know how many wide into the corner. But yeah, I think something was bound to give at some point, as we see Kyle Power getting very, very close at the apex of turn 1 to the back of Aaron Bray's car. Very nearly there, had a Sainz Russell moment.
Absolutely, you can see he's just pushing him through. He's just got to get out of the way there. Perfect. There you go. I think Aaron Bray has thought better of it, which is such a shame, because we want to see these guys fighting and not just jumping out of the way. Although that is why Kyle and Danny have such lurid cars to make sure that people realise that they're coming behind, I think, in those Venom Works cars.
Yes, this is a good point, actually.
The Senna effect, which I'm sure Kyle will be very pleased that I mentioned.
Oh, yes. He'll love that comparison. So lap 5 of 9. It's not been short of drama, this one, as heading up into 14th place here. We're on board with the reigning champion, staring down the back of Gregoire Gomez, who finished on the podium in the feature race, alongside Henny. I think in 10th place there, we've got Dobertsberger and Luke Power side by side with Dronsma trying to get in this as well. Just saw it just in front of Henny on the onboard there. So it's Power in front for now in 10th place. And Dobertsberger still trying to come through. And Dronsma, who's quietly made his way up the order as well. They are struggling to get up the pack, aren't they, really?
As I was saying in the build-up, I think this circuit is a fantastic one for overtaking, but it's also a fantastic one for defending, because particularly through the stadium section, there's so many different lines through there. When you're on the inside of one corner, on the outside of the next, and you can just keep it in. So there's a lot of side-by-sides. We're about to see some more, Chris.
Yep, Johnswell late on the brakes into the first corner, but no way through on the outside there. So Johnswell remains in that 12th place spot, and of course Matt Cook was the cork in the bottle for this lot, but he's had a little bit of a respite while this lot are busy squabbling amongst themselves.
Yeah, indeed. And just a little update up front. So Stuffy is 2.5 seconds ahead of Spanners, who is 3.5 ahead of Daniel Cook. So it looks like the podium has kind of settled itself, and that is a great result. We have Danny Henny in 14th and Carl Power in 15th. So they're our kind of championship leaders, and they're getting strung up now actually with Gregoire Gomez ahead of them. Henny looking for a way past. So this is going to develop into a very interesting battle.
Yeah, Henny there in 14th. Henny in 14th, looking at the back of Gomez. They're side by side down the straight. We can see that Luke Power's trying to make moves as well, as is Dronsma on Dobertsberger. Henny goes through. That's another place. That's 13th for him. Just in front of them, still Dobertsberger and Dronsma going side by side over that 11th place spot as well. And Dobertsberger hanging on to that. Meanwhile, Luke Power's made quite good progress. Cleared a few of those cars in front of them. Here now there is a car between top two in the championship, with Henny making that move there. There's no give in this fight, is there?
Absolutely not. No, it's all nose to tail stuff, and we've got Rich Molden just ahead of them, with Matt Cook as well. These two are going to have a little bit of a battle coming up into the first corner, and even ahead of them there's 3 wide, but here goes Molden to the inside to go defensive, and Dobertsberger and Henny all over the place. Luckily they're all together as Cook decides to go around the outside of Molden despite going defensive. That was impressive stuff from him. And we have Dobertsberger crawling all over the back of them. It's a little bit shuffling of the order behind, Chris. You've got to make that move stick when it happens, because Drillsma, Henny, Gomez and Power and Williams now are all just wanting to jump over each other, and that's exactly what we were talking about. Dobertsberger making that move instantly there through the S's.
Side by side in the middle of the S's is cracking stuff, and that's really cost Molden a lot of momentum. He's plummeting down the order now because Johnsma's gone through. Here comes Henny now trying to make a move on Alex Johnsma as well, the inside of turn 11. That is 11th place for the reigning champion now, and put 2 cars between himself and the championship leader. But Johnsma coming straight back at him with the slipstream, and he'll be on the inside line. And Gomez is going to make it 3 wide. Here we go again. And he's already been in this scenario once. He didn't come off best in it. How's he going to play it? He brakes very, very late, goes all the way around the outside, leaves plenty of room this time, and Dronsma loses out to Gomez in the end on that as well. So Dronsma losing 2 places there. And that Power trying to find a way through as well. And Stephen Williams caught up in the back of all this as well. It really is just cracking stuff watching these guys trying to come through the field. I think we just saw a glimpse of Dobertsberger getting round John Cox for 9th place. Indeed we did. We just see it in the front of shot there. So Cox the next man in the queue for these guys to try and pass.
Yes, and we're going to come up to the last couple of laps. So every little position here gets you points. It's absolutely crucial for the championship battle. And Henny is definitely making better progress. He's now 3 places ahead of Power. Soon make that 4 into the first corner as he dives down the inside of John Cox.
Yep, and Gomez trying to go with him as well. And we saw Dovitzberger making a move on Matt Cook as well, so he's up another spot as well, just in front of Henny. We're on the penultimate lap of the race now, and Scott Tuffy's advantage is up to 4 seconds now over Spanners. The podium looks very much locked in, but how are our championship contenders going to fare in these final couple of laps? They've struggled to get through the pack in comparison to some of the other races that we've seen. I mean, we've seen Henny come through to win races from 20th on the grid in the past, but obviously that contact down at turn 12 seems to have halted a bit of his progress, as we see Drillsman now making the move on John Cox as well. Power waiting in the wings as well to do so. John Cox, of course, who started on the front row of the grid, has fallen down the order a little bit, but this is Power currently in 14th place, getting a big tow here, and he's going to make it 3 wide now and try and take 2 places in one manoeuvre. He's definitely got Cox. Is he going to have Drillsmer as well? Yes, he will. So of those 4 cars that were between him and Danny Henny, he's dispatched of a couple of them there.
Absolutely textbook move there from Kyle. He's got to defend through the stadium as Dovitzberger looks like he's going to try, Drillsman, sorry, looks like he's going to try and come back at him and gets all crossed up on the exit. He was lucky to collect that one up, Chris, on the Power. Very nearly stuffed it in the wall.
On the Kyle Power, almost.
That's going to be very tricky as we go along,
yeah.
Particularly with two Powers involved.
Oh, I'm here all night, folks. The last lap of the race has started. Scott Tuffy, the race leader, on the final lap now, as is Kyle Power here. His nephew just setting the fastest lap of the race there in 5th place, so he's continued to make progress. As is
secretly
champion Danny Henny, actually. Sorry, go on.
I'm not going to let you out-joke me, Chris. I was going to say, I was hoping at the beginning that the 2 cooks would come together, because then there'd be, too many cooks and whatnot. So I'll let you get back to the professional job.
We would have to rename one of these corners Kitchen then, wouldn't we? Henny coming through the S's here, trying to find a way around Matt Cook, who's really been in the thick of the action. It's been the cork in the bottle for a lot of these guys, but he hasn't done anything, all that dramatic. Just been driving very nicely, actually, there in 8th place, and would be taking 5th, I believe, in the silver class championship as it stands. Actually, Gregoire Gomez in 10th place there is the gold the gold class leader at the moment, as here comes Henny now, trying to bag a few more valuable championship points. And remember, he was 30 points behind Kyle Power going into this penultimate round of the championship. After this round, we apply the drop score, and whatever you take into your final round at Interlagos counts to the championship. So this is absolutely crucial time for the championship as Henny gets pushed. Henny gets pushed round, and we just caught it on my screen. I don't think we caught it on the stream, but here comes Scott Tuffy, a textbook victory in the sprint race. Absolutely dominant performance, but drama on the final lap there as Henny got tagged by Gomez.
It was Gomez last lap bandit maneuver there,
and he's going to come across the line in 13th place in the end. My goodness, we were just talking about how crucial everything is for the championship. That could have been something really important. 14th in the end for Henny, with Power in 9th.
Absolute drama on the last lap there, but somebody who wasn't involved in that drama was Spanners Ready.
No, it was a cruise down the M6 camera.
Absolutely, and a very easy podium for you there, although I bet it wasn't easy from the cockpit.
Easy? How very dare you? Me and Stuffy kind of ruined that reverse grid a little bit by having bad races. And I tell you what, something about pace and something about these guys who are quality streamers and quality sim racers like Stuffy. If you've ever played a game of golf, you'll hit that one shot where it just hits off the middle of your club, it flies through the air, it drops by the hole, and you go, I could do this. I'm as good as that person I saw on TV. Following Stuffy, when I didn't make a mistake, we stayed the same distance. Every mistake I made, he drew away from me. He was absolutely flawless. And that's why Scott Stuffy, is someone you should go and follow on YouTube.
Absolutely. I hear he's streaming at the same time as us, but our stream was far more intense because the championship leaders had a bit of a coming together, or rather, Danny Henney was taken out on the final lap there. So
I had to tell off the champ on the game chat. Of course, understandably, he was irate, and I'm just going to glean from the tone of the conversation I heard that it was Greg's fault.
I think you might well be right there. But so obviously you'll be starting in the middle of the pack again for race 3. Probably the podium might be a bit of a stretch, but how are you feeling
I'm really looking forward to it because I was so disappointed in race 1. I don't know if it was caught on stream, but my endurance racing partner, my 24-hour race partner, who I've shared stints with over the course of hours and hours, Colin Ward, just did the most un-Colin thing in the world and just wiped me out into the turn 5, I think, before the back straight. And I was just so disappointed. My best ever qualifying, and then you get nerfed. But it completely happens. And I tell you what, this Discord chat is the best online forum I've ever been on in my life. All the drivers just chatting to each other, talking through what happened in the race, apologising, congratulating. It's a wonderful atmosphere.
It is fantastic, and if you do want to join in, just email, I believe, Spanners, it's racecontrol@missedapex.net. Is that right?
That's the one, Catman. That's why you're good at this job. Hey, caught a little bit of the commentary back during race 1. You two are amazing Mike Smiths. Thank you so much for the work you do for this broadcast.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Spanners. And we've got some race results coming up, Chris.
Yeah, now Scott Tuffy, who takes the victory in the sprint race, and Spanners takes his second podium in the F3 Cup with Daniel Cook on the podium as well, and I believe that is a first for him as well. Alex Smith up in 4th place with Tim Ellis recovering up to 5th with Luke Power, Ryan Sedgwick, Alexander Dobbelsberger up in 8th. Kyle Power takes 9th place. This could be crucial for the championship with Henny all the way down in 30th. Then it's Stephen Williams in the top 10. Matt Cook did a cracking job there, but 11th in the end for him. Gregoire Gomez, who was 12th, but will he pick up a penalty for that incident with Henny on the last lap, with Richard Molden in 13th, Luca Harrison in 14th. So he'll be in a good position for the reverse grid race coming up next as well, John Langan and John Cox. The top 16, and then you're the front of the grid for the next race will be Matt Trumpets, Jose O'Donnell, Colin Ward, and Andrew Sexton as well, which means I need to revise my grid a little bit because while we were talking to Spanners there were quite a few changes with incidents coming in thick and fast. But there we see confirmation that Danny Henney was 30th after a drive-through penalty for exceeding the incident points with that last lap drama. And we wait to see if Gregoire Gomez will pick up a penalty for that incident. So we're going to take a quick break before the final race of the night. Don't go anywhere. The action continues in a few minutes' time.